This weekend marks both the end of the men's Tour de France and also the start of the 4th edition of the Tour de France Femmes Avec Zwift.
On Saturday, 154 riders will start their 1,165-kilometre race from Bretagne in the northwestern tip of France through the centre and to a finish in the Alps.
So, coming up, a detailed look at all 9 stages that make up the longest edition in this event's short history. First up, though, this is what happened just under a year ago.
Kasia Niewiadoma taking by far the biggest win of her career in the most nail-biting finish imaginable. Just 4 seconds separated her from defending champion Demi Vollering as the race culminated on Alpe d'Huez.
Niewiadoma will be back to defend, Vollering will be back for revenge, and there are a host of others who want their own shot at glory this year too. More on the rides later on, but first up, here's the route.
As mentioned, the race is 1 stage longer this year than the previous 2 editions, and as such, it starts this coming Saturday.
The Grand Départ, as I mentioned, is in Bretagne, which hosts the first 2 stages and the start of the 3rd. And it seems a fitting place to begin the race, doesn't it? Because it's quite the hotbed of cycling in France.
It is indeed. The 9 stages consist of 3 flat days, 3 in the high mountains, 1 medium mountain stage, and then 1 hilly stage, which is what we start with on the opening day.
It's short, but intense, that opening day. 79 kilometres, that stage, which starts in Vannes and finishes in Pumalec. 1,100 metres of climbing on that route, which doesn't sound like much, but in such a short stage, it is going to feel quite lumpy, I would say.
Lumpy?
Yeah.
Yes. That's fairly accurate, actually, isn't it? The opening part is pretty flat, but after 30 Ks, they hit the first categorised climb of the race, the Côte du Bot-Cigalo. Think we got that?
I think so, yeah.
I think so. 800 metres long at 5.3%. 18 Ks later, they will hit the finish line for the first time and start the first of 2 14-kilometre laps.
The finish line is located atop the Côte de Cadoudal, which I think is my favourite climb name ever, Cadoudal. Anyway, it's 1.7 Ks at 6.2%. Interestingly, the first time up it, there's an intermediate sprint at the top. The second time up it, it's in a 4th cat climb. And then the third time up it, it's the finish line.
Crikey. Pumalec is getting its money's worth.
It is.
Isn't it, really? Now, if you're wondering whether this climb has ever been used before in a pro race, the answer is yes, but it was quite some time ago. The finishing circuit of stage 1 is an exact replica, good fact this, of the European Road Race Championship circuit from 2016.
Is that the one that Anna van der Breggen won, Si?
I believe it is, Dan.
I think it is.
Yes.
But it's Longo Borghini, actually, who's got the Strava QOM on that climb. So they will both know this circuit very well because they tackled it 8 times that day, as long as their memory's quite good.
Yeah. Lippa and Balsamo will also know it because they were 1st and 2nd in the junior race.
Oh, good knowledge. I didn't see that one.
Yeah, I remember that from when I looked it up about 2 hours ago.
Oh yeah, I thought it must be recent. The climb itself is about a 4-minute effort if they're racing properly up it. So that's going to be a really tough finish on day 1. Way too hard, I would say, for the Wiebes and the other sprinters. This seems like it's going to be a GC battle on the very opening stage.
Put Pete C. My pick.
That's a good shout, Si. Yeah, very good shout. I'd love to see her get the yellow jersey on day 1. Right, stage 2 is the first of 3 consecutive flat stages. This one is 110 kilometres from Brest to Quimper. Despite its categorisation by the organisers, though, this one has more total climbing at 2,029 metres, but also more climbing per kilometre of racing than stage 1, which they described as hilly.
It's a strange one, that.
Yeah.
Isn't it? My first thought was that it must be because of where the climbs are on the route. But it's not really a flat finale either. There are 4 categorised climbs and another hilly 26k finish lap that they tackle 1.5 times, plus the finish is uphill too.
Doesn't sound that flat, really, does it? That means essentially they do the Côte de Chemin de Troer twice, 1.1 k's at 5.7%. Now, the last time that they get to the top of that, there will be less than 5 k's to go to the finish. But as you said, even that part's not flat.
No, not at all flat. In fact, it's a proper climb, 900 metres at 6%, but with a max gradient of 14%. Now, as far as I can see, this hasn't been used in a pro women's race before, but some of you will remember it because it's the same finish as stage 5 of the men's race in 2018, where, yes, Peter Sagan beat Sonny Colbrelli and Philippe Gilbert.
I actually genuinely do remember that finish.
Yeah. No time gaps amongst the top 38 that day.
Don't remember that bit.
Oh, no, I remember that. But also no pure sprinters involved. So another one for the Punchy.
Sounds that way. Feels like it'd be the same style of rider actually fighting out for the win as stage 1 the previous day, doesn't it? I wouldn't completely count Wiebes out on stage 2. She is getting better and better on the punchy climbs, though. Either way, I do think ASO need to change their description of that stage from flat to hilly, personally. Anyway, on to stage 3, which I think is flat.
Is flat, yes. At 163.5k, it's the second longest stage of the race, starting in La Gacilly and heading to Angers. With just 1,300 metres of climbing, this should be one for the sprinters, but it's not a flat finish.
Not completely flat, no. The last 500 metres of that stage gently rise at around 2.5% gradient, so it's not too bad. So like I said, this should be the first proper opportunity for the sprinters at the race.
Stage 4 is a little bit shorter, at 131 kilometres, as the race continues to head southeastwards towards the centre of the country. This one goes from Saumur to Poitiers, and the first 45k is about as flat as it gets. The gain at just 140 metres in elevation over that distance.
After that, there are a few lumps, but with less than 800 metres of climbing in total, it should be the second sprint stage in succession. There is a 500 metre climb at 4% with 3k's to go, which might give opportunists a chance, but I'd imagine SD Works will be controlling any dangerous moves for Wiebes.
OK, on to stage 5. This is the medium mountain day, 166 kilometres from Futuroscope to Guéret. This is the longest stage of the race by distance. So the opening 3/4 of it are flat, but then there are 3 categorised climbs over the final 40 kilometres.
The Côte de Chabannes, 1,400 metres at 5.2%. Côte de Pérou, 3.3k's at 4.3%. And then finally, La Morpuy, 2.8k's at 5.4%.
Now that one peaks with 7 kilometres remaining, after which it's a descent and then a flat run into the finish. The last climb hasn't been used in any big races before, but I did notice that Sarah Gigante rode it on the 22nd of June. She titled her ride on Strava, ready to win the stage 5 sprint.
Ominous. You've really done your research, haven't you, Si?
Oh, I really have, yeah.
I'd imagine that was a tongue-in-cheek Strava ride title from Gigante, though, as I don't think these climbs are quite long enough for her strength, shall we say. But if the Giro is anything to go by recently, she's going to be wreaking havoc in the upcoming mountains.
Well, she has actually reconned most of the stages from here on in, yeah. So I'd watch out for her.
Right then, stage 6, and we're into the mountains. 124k's from Clermont-Ferrand to Ambert. 4 categorised climbs en route, including the biggest one of the race to that point, the first category Col de Béal.
Yeah, 10k's at 5.6%, cresting 2/3 of the way into the stage. You want to have a guess as to who's got the QOM?
Or Gigante, maybe, then?
Yes, Gigante, yeah. Again, not been used in a big women's race, but it was the first climb on stage 14 of the 2020 men's tour. After it, they descend to the foot of the next climb, the Côte de Chancer.
6.3k's at 5.5%. Is Gigante the QOM there as well, Si? Can you remember?
No, she's not. Misha Bredvold was 1 second quicker.
Was she?
Yeah, she rode it a couple of weeks before Gigante. It took them both just under 20 minutes, and it'll probably, what would you think, take them about 16 on the day?
That sounds about right, at race pace, doesn't it? It'd be interesting to see how aggressive the race is on that climb, though, because from the top, it's still quite a way to the finish line, about 30 kilometres. There's an uncategorised climb with the bonus sprint at the top of it with 12 k's to go. Then it's rolling before a descent down to the finish in Ambert.
Breakaway?
Possibly. Just depends on time gaps at that point and who gets in the breakaway, I suppose.
Stage 7, 160k from Bourg-en-Bresse to Chambéry, described as hilly, but we'll do our own descriptions here because you can't trust ASO. So it's flat for 100k's, then medium mountain. So the biggest climb of the day is the last one, the Col de Granier, 9k's at 5.4%.
And we will definitely see some action there because it's a 17-kilometre descent to the finish when they get to the top of that climb. That climb actually was used in last year's Dauphiné on a stage, I noticed.
And then, have a guess. Gigante has the QOM. Kim LeCourt and Puck Pieterse also went to see that stage in June.
A lot of recons going on.
A lot of recons, yeah. So it's going to be about a 25-minute effort, that. So we could see some decent gaps, but not super steep either, is it? So a bit of drafting going on. So.
I think the descent could also be very interesting, couldn't it? Right, on to the penultimate stage of the race, which is the first of 2 final days in the high mountains. This one starts in Chambéry and finishes on the Col de la Madeleine, which is a beast.
It is a monster. Yeah, 112 kilometres in total, and they have a brute of a climb at the start as well. So right from kilometre 0, they're on the Col de Plainpalais, 13 kilometres at 6.3%. By the top, there should be a break, but only the strongest climbers are going to be able to get into it.
The terrain is quite rolling then for most of the rest of the stage, with just a second cat climb before they reach the foot of the Madeleine. A reminder, this one is 18.6 kilometres long at over 8% average gradient, with some extended stretches in that climb at double digits.
Yeah, it is an absolute monster, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the toughest summit finish ever seen at the Tour de France Femmes Avec Zwift, slightly longer and slightly steeper than the Col de Tourmalet, which they finished on in 2023, wasn't it? Where Vollering won by 2 minutes. So it's going to see some huge time gaps, isn't it?
I think so.
Probably be an effort of around an hour and a quarter.
Oh man, that is brutal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Feels like the race is going to be decided there, really, doesn't it? But there is still an opportunity for a shake-up on the 9th and final day. 124 k's from Praz-sur-Arly to Châtel-les-Portes du Soleil. No summit finish, but 3 big climbs on that stage.
Yeah, the Côte d'Arrache-la-Frasse. That's got to rival your Col de whatever it was from the start, isn't it? That's a great name. That's 6.2 k's at 7.1%, and then the Col de Juplin, 11.6 kilometres at 8.5%, and that's about the midway point of the stage. Then there's the final climb of the whole race, the Col de Corbière, 5.9 kilometres at 8.5%.
Which comes with about 30 kilometres remaining, after which it's steadily uphill to the finish line, but on quite shallow gradients.
Yeah, so all the action should happen in the early part of the stage. As we said, there is scope for change, but it'll take someone risking to lose in order to win.
Yeah.
All right, okay, here's hoping that things on GC are still quite close by that point.
Fingers crossed. I like this route, I've got to say, having gone over it. There should be plenty of action right from the very first stage. There's opportunity for the sprinters, and then that really big final weekend.
You think the Madeleine is just I mean, it is such a monster, isn't it? It'd be a shame if there are massive time gaps.
There could well be, though, couldn't there, by that? Well, there will be, effectively, but hopefully those massive time gaps aren't amongst the first 3.
No. All right. Before we get on to the riders taking part, we will do our usual promotion of the GCN shop. So apologies if we repeat ourselves here, but sales of GCN T-shirts, hoodies and other accessories make a massive difference to us and the videos that we're able to create for you guys.
Not just those bits of clothing, so actually, because we've also got a special edition GCN Camelback water bottle available this year too, which you can find in the same place, shop.globalcyclingnetwork.com, or there'll be a QR code which is on the screen right now.
I like that. That's very cool. Nice. Navy blue, in case you're wondering.
Very
Black
good.
from a distance, but undoubtedly navy.
It is, yeah. I mean,
French
I'm a fan
navy
of the design this year, but say.
Yeah. Right, on to the riders. We will do our usual of starting with GC based on bookmakers odds. Yeah. So not Dan's.
Yes.
Yeah, basically. Right. No surprise then that we will start with Demi Vollering.
Yeah, she might not have won the race last year, but in large part, that was because of time lost caught up behind a crash on stage 5, where she lost close to 2 minutes.
Oh, a controversy.
Vollering has now moved on to FDJ Suez. Despite a rocky start in Omloop Het Nieuwsblad, They've now really gelled quite well as a team behind Vollering, I'd say.
Yeah, that team includes two very strong French climbers, Juliette Labou and Vita Music, both of whom have finished in the top 10 at the race on more than one occasion. So her support in the mountains will be second to none.
It will, and she probably doesn't even need it because her record in stage races speaks for itself. I'm going to read out her last 13 results in general classification in pro-level stage races. You ready?
Yeah, go for it, mate.
Okay. Second, first, second, first. I think I'm right in saying. The last time she finished outside the top 2 of a stage race is now almost 3 years ago.
Wow. As
unbelievable.
Records of consistency go, that is not bad.
No, not too bad, is it?
Has she got any DNFs, did not finishes?
Kind of. She had a DNS, I think it was, at the CMAC Ladies Tour a couple of years ago due to illness.
Well, that doesn't count because that's a DNS, not a DNF.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
There's a caveat there. Anyway, this year she's competed at 4 stage races ahead of the Tour de France Femmes Avec Zwift, and she's won 3 of them. The only one she didn't win was actually the most recent, the Tour de Suisse, where Marlen Reusser of Movistar got the better of her.
Very news because your last race, aren't you, Dan? Well, no. Handily, Marlen Reusser is actually second in the odds list, isn't she? So that is a nice segue. The Movistar rider has been, you could say, on fire this season. 2024 was a difficult one for her. She got COVID in February, then broke her jaw and 8 teeth at the Tour of Flanders in April. Horrible. And then she got long COVID, didn't she? Which took her out of the Olympics and the World Champs.
Yeah, and at the time it made you wonder how long it would be before she was back to 100%, if ever.
Yeah.
But we got our answer this year, didn't we? I don't think she's ever been as strong as she is right now, particularly in the high mountains. So after beating Vollering at Swiss, she finished runner-up to Elisa Longo Borghini at the Giro. So she's done 5 stage races this year, and she's never been worse than second either.
Wow. My only concern, Dan, is how much that Giro and all the other racing has taken out of her. Because obviously the women's Grand Tours aren't as long as the men's, but she's already done 36 days of racing this year. And there's only 2 weeks between the Giro, which was savage, and the Tour.
Yeah, it's a good point. I did think the same, actually. I mean, Vollering's prepared very specifically for the Tour de France, hasn't she? Reusser, meanwhile, has Liana Lippert by her side, who won 2 stages of the Giro herself. So that is also going to be a very strong combination.
Yeah. OK, next up, we've got Sarah Gigante. Her odds tumbled after her recent performances at the Giro, where she won both tough summit finishes by some margin. Yeah. Presumably they dropped as well when they snooped around her Strava. Like you did as well, yeah. She had iliac artery surgery late last year, but like Reusser, seems like she's better than ever.
Feels that way, doesn't it? Gigante, though, has always been a huge talent. You'll remember, Si, we mentioned this on the GCN show many years ago, because at 18 years old, she won the Australian National Champs in 2019. Wow. I always felt like it was just a matter of time, really, before she was at this level. And as you also mentioned, Si, she's been out to look at most of the key stages of the race already, so she's certainly prepared well for the race. Were it not for getting caught out on the wrong side of a split in crosswinds at the Giro, I think she'd have been a real threat to win the overall there. So she'll just need to make sure that that sort of thing doesn't happen this time around at the Tour.
No. I mean, might it in those early stages?
Well,
not really, was it?
It's doubtful, but you never know.
You never
have to be vigilant.
Oh, that's stressful, isn't it, being vigilant? I hated that. Anyway, it does feel like she might be the only rider capable of sticking with Vollering, doesn't it, in the high mountains. And AG Insurance also have Belgian champ Justine Kikiri, who is a decent climber, obviously. She won the Queen of the Mountains last year. And Kim LeCourt as well, who's been nothing short of brilliant this season. Yeah, I'm actually expecting quite big things from Kim LeCourt at the Tour de France. I can't believe she's 80-1. Is that a little tip, Dan, for people?
Well, she might have tumbled now that I've lumped 100 quid each way on her. No, I haven't. Anyway, moving on. And we're finally going to talk about last year's winner now, unbelievably, Kasia Niewiadoma. Again, I was a little surprised to see that she's only 4th favourite at the race at 12-1. Her early season results haven't been great, admittedly, but she finished 3rd overall in the Tour de Suisse, and most of the gap from her to Reusser and Vollering came from missing their downhill attack on the opening day. Yeah,
I mean, you would imagine that this is the big focus of her season 2. It was a special set of circumstances that allowed her to win last year, with Vollering losing that time. But I think she's got a great chance at the podium again this time.
I'd agree.
Her consistency at the Tour de France Femmes Avec Zwift is pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, like I say, it must be the team's main focus for the season too. Yeah. She'll have Cecily Uttrup-Ludwig by her side, as well as Antonia Niedermeyer, Neve Bradbury and Chloe Dygert amongst her support team. Even longer odds is UAE's Elisa Longo Borghini.
Even longer odds. I think you could say.
Well, very
Thanks, mate.
Despite her win at the Giro, she's 15-1. Now, she's done 3 races this season, stage races, won 2 of them and finished second in the other one. So I'd personally have her above Gigante in the odds because while she was nowhere near as strong as her in the mountains at the Giro, she's more consistent in general and far, far more experienced.
Yeah, her move to UAE has been a successful one as well, hasn't it? They've really stepped it up this season with her help. Next up, Pauline Ferrand-Prévot, 23-1. So she was second in Flanders and won Paris-Roubaix back in April, you remember? But her results in stage races have not been quite as good, have they? So 17th in the UAE Tour, which admittedly was a long time ago, but then a DNS at the Vuelta, which was actually her last race.
Yeah, back at the start of May. You'd imagine that since then and since the Classic, she's been busy at altitude camps in preparation for the Tour de France. I definitely would not write Pauline Ferrand-Prévot off.
I definitely would not.
No. You've got to be pretty good at training, haven't you, to be as successful as she's been in mountain biking. That said, I do need to see some indications that she's able to climb with the best up the big mountains. Great results, but in fairly flat Classic so far.
True that. I would have said in days gone by that being a mountain biker would qualify you to be able to ride up very long mountains at a very high pace, but I think mountain biking's changed, hasn't it? So probably not. Visma Lease Bike, her team also have Marianne Vos, who needs... She needs no introduction, Dan. Vos, the boss, she won't be going for GC, of course, but she will have most of the first few stages marked down as suitable to, well, her characteristics of winning basically everything.
Yeah, those first few are brilliant for her, aren't they?
Yeah.
Anyway, back to GC riders, and you'll probably have noticed that we are yet to mention anybody from SD Works. They've been a dominant force in women's cycling for years at this point, in all types of races, but in losing Vollering to FDJ, they haven't looked so good in stage races this season.
Now, Anna van der Breggen made a much-anticipated return to racing in February, having retired from the sport in 2021, and the initial signs looked very promising, didn't they? She was the last rider to stick with Vollering in Valenciana in her first race back. Then she took second in Strade Bianche, third overall at the Vuelta, where she won a stage. However, at the Giro, she was off the pace.
A little, what, she's 6th overall, I think. Yeah, so she hasn't quite made the progression I think we were all kind of hoping for since the early part of the season. Really did look like she might be able to threaten Vollering once she got some more racing in her legs, but at this point, I'd say that would be a surprise. SD Works also have world champion Lotte Kopecky, who also really progressed in stage racing and mountains last year, but this year it's been a bit more of a struggle for her. She did win in Flanders, of course, and at the National Time Trial Champs for about the 100th time, but she pulled out of the Giro recently. Yeah,
she had some back pain, didn't she? And she said she didn't want to make it any worse before the Tour, which is completely fair enough. Again, those opening stages of the race will really suit her, but I'm less confident that she'll be up there in the mountains.
Yeah,
well, she did do a cracking ride in the Tourmaline, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. Like I was going to say, a couple of years ago, I thought she was progressing so quickly in the mountains that she could quickly develop into somebody that could win the Tour de France Femmes. She finished second, actually, to Vollering a couple of years ago as a teammate, didn't she? But that doesn't seem likely, in my opinion, this time around, but never say never.
Never say never. Right then, next up, we've got Paulina Royakkers of Phoenix de Koning. She was 4th at the Giro. In fact, she was for the last 2 years, wasn't she? 3rd on GC at the Tour last year. She is super consistent in the biggest races, even if she is not a prolific winner.
No, she's not one load, but yeah, incredibly consistent, as you said. She's also got Puk Pieter as a teammate, who was the best young rider last year. She's actually not done a stage race so far this season, but no doubt has been training very hard for this one, doing recons, as you suggested, Si.
Well, and she's a mountain biker as well.
Exactly. And Yara Kastelijn will also be strong for Phoenix de Koning too.
Yeah. Pieter was looking a little bit off form on the mountain bike.
Was she? Did she crash?
She did, yeah, but she wasn't going super fast. Anyway, moving on to EF Oatly now, who have Cédrine Coubayol. Last year, she became the first ever French stage winner at the event. She was also 6th in Tour de Suisse, 4th in the Vuelta, 4th in Liège-Bastogne-Liège. I mean, frankly, she's had a solid year.
It's not bad, is it?
And EF have also got Kristen Faulkner, who will no doubt be doing her usual long-range attacks that are very difficult to catch.
Yeah, not easy to catch her back, is it? Watch out too for Niamh Fisher-Black of Lidl-Trek, who is 4th in Swiss, 6th at the Vuelta, and her teammate Gaia Riolini, who'll be really looking forward to those big mountains, you'd have thought.
Yeah, Lucinda Brand as well. She was 8th on GC last year.
Was she?
Yeah, and Shirin Van Anrooy, who looked, well, she looked great at the Giro. Talita de Jong will lead human-powered health, whilst Mavi Garcia is always worth a mention when it comes to GC and climbing, even at 41 years of age.
Crikey.
I know, yeah, right. Should we move on to the sprinters?
Yeah, let's. Well, just before we do that, we should point out that even though there's less than 5 days to the race as we record this, only 2 teams have confirmed their lineup so far. So we think all of those riders are doing it, I'm pretty sure, but if there are any changes, it's not our fault, basically.
Yes. If any teams are watching this, could you please sort it out for next year?
Anyway, no prizes for guessing which sprinter we're going to talk about first. Lorena Wiebes. I mean, she's unstoppable in sprint at the moment, isn't she? She's amassed 107 career wins at the age of 26, 14 of which have come this year from just 34 days of racing.
Yeah, and she's not been beaten in a sprint for the win this season, has she? No. To be honest, it would be a surprise if she was beaten at the top.
It would be, yeah. Yeah, there was a point, I think it was just over a year ago, start of last year maybe, where Charlotte Cole looked like she might be able to threaten Wiebes, but it's not really happened. She did take a couple of wins, or 1 win, at the Baloise Ladies Tour last week, but she's not beaten Wiebes this year.
No. Other potential threats are Elisa Balsamo of Lidl Trek, winner of Skel de Pries, amongst other races this year, plus Canyon SRAM's Chiara Consoni, Ali Wollaston of FDJ Suez, Lara Gillespie of UAE, if she gets a start, but we don't know yet because the team hasn't posted their start list, and Linda Zanetti of Uno X as well.
Oh, I'm going to add Lonica Uniken into the mix as well. She rides for the Volker Vessels cycling team, has 5 pro wins to her name, mostly in sprints. The reason I wanted to mention her is because of her fairly unique preparation for the race. Right. So, like Pizza, she hasn't done a stage race so far this year, but I was looking on Pro Cycling Stats earlier. She's done 23 one-day races so far in 2025. It's quite a programme.
That is a lot of one-day races, isn't it?
Yeah. It is, yeah. Right, we've done the route then. We've covered most of the rides. But before we get on to our predictions, we should remind you can watch a full season of bike racing live on Discovery Plus and Max.
Yes, right. Are we doing all the jerseys again, Don?
I'd say so,
predictions?
Yeah.
OK.
Shall I go first then?
Go on.
OK, I am going to go for an overall win for Sarah Gigante.
Oh, really?
Overall win.
Whoa.
It is a risk, I know, because you might get caught out on the non-mountainous stages, as we pointed out. But she was so impressive on the mountains at the Giro d'Italia. Also, I'd just like to see somebody new on top again.
Yeah, fair.
Then I'll go for Voss for green. I think she'll pick up a lot of points in those opening few hilly stages that are deemed flat.
Yeah.
Pizza for best young rider. And I'm sort of covering all bases by going Gigante again for QOM.
Really?
In the hope that she might win one or the other.
OK, all right. Well, whilst I would like to see someone new on the top, I can't surprise Vollering for yellow,
go
really.
over your head.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, well, Tour de Suisse is a blot on her copybook, isn't it? But really, I can't see how, short of bad luck, she's going to get beaten.
Yeah.
This time. Lorena Wiebes for green. I think the stages are flatter than you think because the Tour de France organisers say so. Puck Pizza for white, I think. And then QOM. Can I go for Gigante as well?
Oh, we can double up on one.
Can we?
Sure,
OK,
that's
all
fine,
right, that's
isn't it?
cool.
I actually think your picks are better than mine, now that I've heard yours and thought back on mine.
Thanks, mate.
Mine
Cheers.
were more heart than head. Anyway, make sure you let us know your predictions in the comment section just down below. I'm sure they'll be better than ours.
Probably. All that leaves us to say is enjoy the race. A reminder that it starts this Saturday.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Goodbye for now.